You know, those Cubans that came over in '79. It was, you know, somebody's got to do a documentary of the jail they let them out of. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just walk through that jail. They weren't American jails. They didn't feed you on time. There's no feeding at 7. They would come in and throw a fucking piece of bread at you, dog. Or they would throw like a sandwich into a cell with 4 of us. You know, and no showers.
Because those are the
dirty,
hardcore criminals from Cuba, right?
The
Mariana Boat Project or something
so
like
it
that?
was really weird. I saw the transformation. I saw it right in front. You know, it's so weird how I was doing mescaline one day and having a great time with 20 kids my age, and all of a sudden nobody's doing mescaline anymore. You know, it went from you needed $5 to get high. You needed $2.50 for a hit of mescaline, and $2.50 we could chip in for a 6-pack. You needed 3-4 beers and a hit of mescaline. Somebody had a joint. You were good to go, Rodrigo. And all of a sudden, it went from that to people having to spend $50. You know, there was no sample of cocaine. If you really think the impact that this had on the economy here, you really have to think about 1978, 77. I saw it. I saw people talking. It was spoken in my house since I was a kid. But I was starting to see it more now. I was starting to see it. I knew my mom had white rings around her nose. I knew what time it was. I wasn't retarded. But now I was hearing people talking about it. It was in the clubs. The kids older than me were coming back going, no, metemos perico. Now I was in shock. Like, I just thought my mom and her friends did it. Do you follow me? So now I had to sit there with my tongue tied. You ever done it? No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
How old were you?
13.
Damn.
So 13, it's 1976, and it was already creeping. 77, staying alive, Quaaludes and cocaine. 78, 79 was the first time I had some. And it was in a drawer, and it sat in that fucking drawer for months. And then I went to a party one day and decided to take it. I knew I was gonna sell it. But I said, fuck it, and I did it. And I didn't, you know, the first year I did blow, it didn't get me off. I thought people were lying to me, like Saturday Night Live. You know, for years, people told me it was so funny, I'd go home and I wouldn't laugh.
Made with flour.
And a bunch of people were laughing, and I wouldn't laugh. With coke, I would do coke with people, and I'd see them getting all twisted and hiding and shit. And nothing was happening to me until one day I had a cocktail.
Uh-oh.
See, I didn't drink. One day I had a beer, and I'm like, oh.
So that shit clicked.
My jaw's clicking, my fingers are getting like I'm a piano player and shit. This party's on and shit.
You were like Jeff Dunham with no puppets.
And then they dropped Scarface on these kids.
Yeah, man.
It was like taking a generation to Vietnam. You had to see it. Like, I fucking saw it. Like, I saw kids that were decent kids, and I'd see them in a bar at 4 in the morning, like fucking Lucifer. And I would go, oh, shit. And then they weren't smoking crack yet. There was no crack yet. Like, I was still 83, 84. Everybody had it. In 83, if you bumped into the manager, she'd pull you aside and go, listen, a friend of mine left me a kilo. Do you know anybody who could sell it? He said we could make a lot of money. You were bumping into people like that. Like your neighbor will come over and go, dog, do you know anything about cocaine?
It was everywhere.
It was everywhere. Everybody had it. 1,800 an ounce. 100 a gram, or don't even talk to me. 60 a half a gram.
How good was it?
It was right off the fucking shipment. They were fucking piling in here. It was glass. It was fucking glass. First time I went to Miami in 84, nobody jawed. You didn't stay up. You didn't stay up. Your eyes got red. Like those red veins were in your eyes. You got all red and shit. And you get high and your dick got hard. And you had a good fucking time. And you were
Last
loose.
night had a
And then, over the years, when you started getting, they started doing something to it. Putting speed in it, or rat poison.
aspirin.
And then,
Strychnine
in
and shit.
84, 85, people were smoking it in cigarettes in clubs. I went to the
Cocoa
city in
Puffs.
85. I was not doing drugs at this time. And people were already, the Colombians, they would go, that's a Colombian table. And you could smell the coke in the air. And they were putting it in fucking cigarettes. And then I went over to the city to get weed one day. Manager, I've been going to the spot since I was fucking 13, 14. It was 148th and Broadway. Were you sure these weed stores today?
Yeah.
we. Listen, I copped there from fucking 77 to 84 and a half. And then I just started copping in Jersey, or we would cop on 178th Street. But if I was on 140th and I was in the neighborhood, I'd go there. It was called the Master Mix. The guy was right on the stoop. He was on the stoop.
Little pigeon.
When you went up there, and he had green weed that you never saw then. Nobody had green weed.
Damn.
It was all the weed from Jamaica up in Harlem. The Master Mix. It was the Buddha Thai, the chocolate Thai. Everybody had chocolate Thai. He had green weed, and then he put it together, and that was called the Master Mix. And guess what he gave you? A fucking punch card. In 1980, homie was already giving you a punch card.
What did it say on it?
If you bought 10 nickel bags, you got one for. It was $10 bags. If you bought 10 $10 bags, you got one for free.
Stole his idea.
Who the fuck you think you're dealing with? This is on the street, no license, no nothing. I went there and they go, weed. We don't sell weed no more. This is crack. Crack.
It was gone.
And it
Gone,
the
man.
little vials were all over the street. And I had never seen that before.